Hello and welcome to Post, the channel where we discuss all things hockey. I'm your host Neil, and today we're here to talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs. So the question today is, how do I think the Toronto Maple Leafs will end their season? Now, they've already played basically half of their season. They played 40 games, so they have 42 games left. They're 10-7-2 at home. They're 9-6-6 away. And they are on a current one-game winning streak. So they're at 124 goals for, 118 goals against, so they're a +6, which isn't too bad. But how will they end their season? Let's find out. Now, I've created a ranking system on how I think teams will end their season. I've explained it more in detail in the Washington video, so if you haven't seen it, go watch that. So basically, I look at a team's schedule and who they have left to play, and I assign a rank to each one of those teams. And based on how many times Toronto plays those teams, gives me a number and a percentage, and that's how I'm ranking it. So there's three categories. There's winnable and on-the-fence games, which could go either way, and then losable games. And I've said this before in previous videos, but by losable, I don't mean games that I think that the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to lose, but rather games that have the highest risk for them to lose. So teams against Chicago, San Jose, Pittsburgh, teams like that. So with that said, I think Toronto has 9 winnable games. They've got 21 on-the-fence games, and they've got 12 losable games. So they have a really, really tough schedule to end the season. And actually, if I hadn't known this, I might have ranked them a little lower in my playoff prediction, but I'll stick with it. And so they have a really tough schedule. And so based on those numbers, that gives them a 21.5% winnable chance, a 50% on-the-fence chance, and a 28.5% losable chance. So that's a pretty big losable chance. They've got some really tough games, but the most important thing here to look at is the games on the fence. They play a lot of games against teams at their level or maybe a little above or a little below. So those are going to be really, really important games for the Toronto Maple Leafs. They need to win those games. And if they lose those middle ground games, they're definitely not going to make the playoffs. But if they do well in those middle ground games, then they should place pretty well in the playoffs. And I hope they do, because if they end up playing the Ottawa Senators or Boston again or Montreal, it's going to be so exciting to see those series. It's going to be amazing. And even though I'm not really a Toronto fan, I will 100% watch that series, because it's been a while since they've been to the playoffs. And the last time they were there, I don't want to mention it, but things didn't go well, if you know what I'm saying. So seeing them in the playoffs again for the first time in a while is going to be really exciting. And speaking of exciting, I don't really have to mention how exciting Matthews is, Marner is. These guys are incredible to watch. They have so much skill. They're so young. They're so fast. And Toronto has such a bright future. It's pretty amazing how well they've done this season. They did make some off-season changes, like they acquired Frederik Andersen, who had a rough start to the season, but now he's really finding his game, and he's playing a lot of games for Toronto, and he's doing well. And a lot of this could be attributed to Mike Babcock, obviously one of the best coaches in the league and in the history of the game. He's got gold medals, he's got Stanley Cups. This guy has done it all. Mike Babcock is the guy that Toronto needs. So like I said, Toronto has a really tough end of the season. They have a lot of challenging games coming up. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to miss the playoffs? Do you think they're going to make the playoffs? If they make the playoffs, how well do you think they're going to do? If this is your first video here at Post to Post, thank you for watching. Why don't you hit the subscribe button, because I'm going to be making a lot of these videos coming up. And if you liked it, maybe hit that like button too. So good luck to the Toronto Maple Leafs, and thank you very much for watching. Adios.